All right, so President Trump just said something in a speech and signed something that is literally going to dictate the future of society. And a lot of people are brushing it off as no big deal. And so today I want to talk a little bit about what this is and how it's just going under the radar because it's being brushed off as religious and just something that he's doing on the side. So let's get into it. All right, so in this recent press conference, he receives a report of a Religious Liberty Commission report. So we're going to take a look at what he said, and he also made a speech at a conservative conference, the Faith and Freedom Coalition Policy Conference. So we'll get to this one here in a second. But listen to what he says here.
In May of last year, I established the Presidential Commission on Religious Liberty to outline threats to the free exercise of religion in our country and to provide recommendations for action. America was founded by people of faith, and it was settled as a haven for religious freedom, so important as we prepare to celebrate the 250th anniversary of our founding next week. It is only appropriate that we work to strengthen this fundamental right and to most essentially have liberty for generations to come. We want religious liberty. We want liberty, but we also want religious liberty. We will closely study this report that is being presented to me as president today, and my administration will continue to work with the pillars of protecting religious liberty for all Americans. And we must also remain one nation under God. We will never let that phrase be stolen from us. You know, people are trying to steal it. We all know that very well. That phrase will never be stolen. It will stand proudly in our courts and everywhere else where we have it.
All right, so this report was initially brought together and commissioned, or rather the chairman of this was the Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, along with Dr. Ben Carson. And so the thing to note here immediately that is getting a lot of people, especially Christians, excited, and he's said this over and over, is that this nation will remain a nation under God. And he's talking about protecting religious freedom. And recently he even talked about how he bombed and stopped terrorist activity in Nigeria, I believe, among other places where Christians were being slaughtered. And he's also implying certain things that are happening in the state. So let's listen to parts of his speech where he demonstrates the ideology, the hidden agendas, and certain things that he's actually doing. Now, a lot of people are going to watch this, listen to it, and think, oh, it's just another ordinary like faith and freedom conference, a speech. They may even snooze and sleep through this. But listen carefully to the words in between what he's hinting at.
And just over 1 week from now, we will celebrate the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, marking 2.5 centuries of glorious American freedom. And thanks to the extraordinary work and incredible devotion of patriots like those people in this very, very crowded ballroom, today I can proudly report that on the edge of our 250th year, America is back. It's back. It's back. I believe better than ever before. And I'm especially pleased to say that, likewise, religion is back in our country, bigger and stronger than it has been in many, many years.
Now listen to what he's saying there. He's mentioned for a long time that we need to bring back America, that it's been going the wrong direction. But at the edge of the 250-year anniversary, and we've talked about this before on this channel, with the operation and many things happening behind the scenes, he's actually stating that America is back, that some of the hidden operations and many other things happening have already been executed or are in progress. So he's making a positive report here. And again, this is a big turn and a twist from some of the negativity and the destruction that he's always been talking about. And of course, it's by the Democrats or the left, deep state, all the words that President Trump and the White Hats have been using. Now listen to the history and how proud he was about certain things happening and how he's instilling some of these values still.
As I've said before, to be a great nation, you have to have religion and you have to have God in your nation. If you don't have that, it just doesn't seem to work out, does it? And we have it. We have religion and we have God now. Remember when I first started, 2016, they wanted to take the Christmas out of Christmas. Remember that? We ended that little drive, but we ended a lot of other drives too. From the very beginning of our country, American greatness has been forged by people of faith, and the very first settlers who set foot upon this new world at Jamestown got off their ship, raised up a cross, and bowed down to the Lord in prayer. It was faith that strengthened the Minutemen and who stood up at Lexington Green and Concord Bridge in Philadelphia 250 years ago. Next week, our founders invoked the Creator 4 times in the Declaration of Independence. 4 times. Americans have always deeply believed in the promise of Christ's words in the Gospel of Matthew, With God, all things are possible. With God, all things are possible, right? All things. That's why as we prepared to enter the 250th year last month, tens of thousands of patriots came together on our national mall, and we officially rededicated America as one nation under God. And we're not changing. We're not changing.
Remember, the ideology here, especially if you contrast it with the left, the Democrats, or whatever you want to call it, the liberal, they're not going to specifically name Christ. He's not going to specifically talk about parts of the scripture of the Bible and the history of the foundation of the U.S. This whole Declaration of Independence coming up on July 4th and many other things was and is to this day foundational, instrumental for the U.S. and the ideology surrounding this. Remember, we've seen it during Biden, before Trump, Obama, many others. During that time, there was acceptance of other ideologies, multiple genders, LGBTQ, many other things. But he's openly declaring this, and people are looking at him, hating on him, and maybe he's not the best Christian or whatever it is, and people can kind of have a spiritual eye to say certain things about it. But he's making open declarations, taking open action, and declaring things that is fruitful in the sense of going out and proclaiming godly values. Now listen to what he says here with a very strong conviction that is literally causing a storm among the media. And that's led to this Religious Liberty Commission report that we looked at just a little bit ago. So now listen to what he's saying about some of the actions and what he's doing. And this leads into some of the stuff that I talked about just a little bit ago with regards to the hidden war and the spiritual implications that not a lot of people are focusing in on. They're brushing off and saying, oh, just whatever, it's not that important. But it is absolutely critical.
And while I am in the White House, I will defend Christians and all Americans of faith 100%. You have it 100%, and you've seen it already. So upon taking office, I created the first ever Presidential Commission on Religious Liberty. And later today at the White House, they will present me with their official report and recommendations to ensure that America continues to uphold the first right in our Constitution, and that's religious liberty. We have to uphold religious liberty, most important thing.
And again, here he's talking about the Texas Lieutenant Governor, Dan Patrick, and then Dr. Ben Carson, among a larger team or group that was researching and amalgamating a lot of the report here.
On day one of my administration, I ended the weaponization of law enforcement against religious believers. You know that. I pardoned the Christians Joe Biden threw in jail for saying prayers. He threw him in jail. You know, he didn't know what the hell he was doing. The guy's grossly incompetent. But he was surrounded by very smart, in some cases brilliant lunatics. I got rid of the sinister Johnson Amendment so that pastors can speak the truth at their pulpits. We created the very, very popular White House Faith Office, first time that's ever happened. And I set up an official Department of Justice task force to eradicate anti-Christian biases. Anti-Christian bias, who would think? At a high level, too, although it's fading, going to fade fast.
Now listen to what he's saying here. He's action-oriented. He's results-driven, and he's doing certain things about it.
We had to fight the good battle, but we won every time. We slashed federal funding for any school that pushes transgender insanity on our youth. We expanded the Mexico City policy to stop taxpayer dollars from being used to promote radical gender ideology around the world. Radical gender ideology, it is. I made it the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female. That wasn't too tough. That was sort of an easy one, but, you know, we have a man running in Texas who thinks there are six genders. I don't know what. He's going to have to discuss that with us. Can you believe it? Six genders. And we officially banned the chemical and surgical mutilation of our children. And we will also enshrine a permanent law that says very easily and succinctly, no men in women's sports and no transgender surgery for our children. Never forget, if the radical left ever gets the chance, they will bring all of this insanity right back at levels that you've never seen before. You will never have seen anything like it if they ever get their chance. And they're trying like hell. I call them the Democrats. I exchanged an E for a U. The Democrats, they are horrible. They want to resume the transgender mutilation of our children. They want to restart the war on Christians and churches.
Now, this next part is the absolute kicker. He's outlining the plan, the satanic demonic plan, what is being fought behind the scenes. He's talking about certain conspiracies that people have brushed off. And then he specifically calls out a group of people and what they're doing as they're infiltrating the left, the Democratic Party, and all this stuff. And there's a term for this. So listen to what he's saying and what he's outlining.
They're afraid they're going to lose their election if they even think about saying anything bad about this new breed of sick people. They're not smart enough or tough enough to fight the plague that's happening. It's happening right before your very eyes. If they fought them the way they fight Republicans or the way they fight me, they'd be victorious. They didn't beat us, but they'd be victorious against the communists. But they don't have the courage to do so. So they're turning communists themselves, becoming a communist party. These are not social democrats. These are hardcore, godless communists. They're godless communists. All communists are godless. They don't believe in God. This is the most serious threat to our country since its existence, in my opinion, 250 years ago. This is a major threat to our country. It isn't something that's easily solved, but with a little love and help, some hard work. Because it's ironic, we're celebrating a very important birthday, our most important birthday so far, 250 years. And instead of speaking about Christ, and instead of speaking about freedom and victories of all different kinds, we're speaking about yet another threat to the foundations of America. These ruthless communists will attack all religions, but in particular Christianity. They always do. They're after Christianity more than any other religion. It seems to be more and more throughout the world, maybe because we're doing so well. I don't know. Maybe if we weren't doing well. But you see the numbers, how they're growing, how the churches are filling up. It's a beautiful thing to see. I mean, look, it happens to be during my presidency, so I don't mind taking credit for it. I'm very proud. But a lot of great things are happening. All communist countries attack religions violently. It's part of their deal. As you know, we recently struck Nigeria and largely ended the slaughter of great Christian populations. They have a great Christian population. They were being butchered. Thousands and thousands of people were being killed, children, women, old people, just being slaughtered, hatched to death. They know that if they go further, the attack will be far greater and that they don't want to really get involved anymore so much. You know, we hit them very hard. We knocked out their leader. We knocked out their second leader and their third leader. Sounds a little bit like Iran, actually.
Listen to what he's saying there. He's taking action. He's been mandated. He's doing something about defending Christians. It's not about you just sitting there as a believer and saying, oh, you know what, let me just give them my left and right cheek. And yes, there's principle about what it means to turn the other cheek. But here in this instance, with the power, the authority that was granted to him in his presidency, he's doing certain things about it. And he also mentioned the greatest threat to the U.S. since its existence, in his opinion, is about communism and the godlessness of what this is. And again, you got to understand the vessel that is being used to push certain demonic, satanic agendas. And this is through communism, socialist Democrats, through this idea of pushing anti-God ideology to the people. And this is termed in a certain way. Again, the idea of, dictatorship, if it's under a pure system without sin and led by Jesus Christ himself, would be good. But in this instance, in a fallen world, you cannot have certain things like this because it leads to godlessness. And he's saying this, that if you give an inch, they will take a mile. They'll kill your people. They will go close churches. They'll end religion. And this is the ideology that President Trump, many others are fighting. And this is probably within the report, especially embedded within the U.S. And you're not going to see it from death and destruction and all that stuff. But there's other ways to push, to poison, if you want to say, the Christian belief system, the biblical values. And listen to what he says as he ends his speech.
As we said for your 401ks, it's good for your hottest. We're going to make it even better. But the biggest thing we have to do is we have to stop this horrible thread of cancer that's permeating our country called communism. We have to stop it because that's what it's about. That's what they want to do quietly. And we ask that God will continue to bless the United States of America, and God will bless the United States of America because of people like you. Thank you very much, and happy Independence Day, everybody. Thank you.
Listen to what's happening here. He's throwing out terms that many of us might be like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. But President Trump, the White Hats, these guys, they have discernment to understand what's right and wrong and who and what the patterns are. He's getting reports. He's seeing certain things happen as a flow, as an energy, the direction, and all of this battle that's happening at very high levels. And he's outlining, he's painting the picture for many of us and how the direction of society has been for a long time and how it's being reversed. And very boldly, he has claimed that this is a cancer, that this needs to be stopped. And he's doing it in a bold way under the Lord's mandates, under God, under biblical values. So just want to give you guys this quick updated word. More to come. And then in the next video, I'm going to outline certain things that are very important to this whole operation happening. So stay tuned for that. Love you guys. Talk to you guys very soon.